Film school was always the answer. I wanted to be a magician as a kid, but I wasn't very good at it. Every time I'd do a trick, I'd make my audience sit through an explanation of how I did it. To a lot of people, that's called ruining the magic, and they have a point. But to me, the real mechanisms that made the illusions possible were where the magic began. I did the same with movies. Watching DVD bonus features, I learned that filmmaking, too, was a kind of series of magic tricks. Before anything else, I fell under the spell of light, sound, and practical effects.
Alright, you ready? And go.
So I picked up a camera. I used it. Poorly at first, then a little less poorly. Even after all these years, I don't think I can confidently say that I know how to use a camera well. My first movies were glorified special effects demos. Like in Hollywood's silent era, story was secondary. It was all about creating an illusion.
Now you see me, and now you don't.
Take that, you stupid aliens.
As the years went by and I got more and more serious about my work, the same questions kept coming up. Film school was always the answer. At 17, I toured film schools all over the country, while back at home, I was experiencing brutal academic burnout. My mom picked up the slack for me. She planned out our college tours with the enthusiasm I wasn't able to muster, always keeping my future at the forefront. Everything changed when I first toured FSU Film. Florida State University's College of Motion Picture Arts is one of the best in the world. They have a remarkable reputation for producing employable and successful filmmakers, and with a class size of only 30 people, fostering a sense of tight-knit community and hands-on instruction unmatched by most other institutions. I fell in love. I only applied to 2 schools, FSU Film and the University of Georgia. UGA is about an hour away from where I live. It's my mom's alma mater, but it doesn't have a traditional film school. UGA does have film studies, which doesn't really involve production, and they have entertainment and media studies, which does involve production, but also involves a broader look at how entertainment industries work. There were now 2 versions of my future. The one where I would go to FSU, and the one where I would go to UGA. They diverged here, on February 15th, 2024, when FSU Film decisions were released. Everyone around me knew I was going to FSU. It wasn't an if, it was just a given. And maybe I was being a little bit presumptuous, but my presumptions seemed to be validated when, in December of 2023, I received an invitation to an in-person interview. We're here. Gotta go. Each applicant there had a 30-minute personal interview with 3 professors that made up the admissions committee. I walked out of this whole process thinking I did okay. I think I performed pretty well in the group interview, but in the individual interview, one of the professors just kept asking me questions about my YouTube videos as opposed to my actual filmmaking. That made me feel a bit typecast. I started to worry, like, do these people think that I am better suited to making content than making art? I talked myself down and just sort of reassured myself that I was worrying too much. FSU was still a given. Finally, February 15th rolled around. I took this very personally. I felt as if I had been wronged. But when that feeling went away, what was left underneath was just insecurity. It cut so deep that all of my doubts came spilling out. I just wasn't good enough. Now, perhaps I could have avoided that predicament by not being so presumptuous in the first place, but that's in the past now. Obviously, I was going overboard. I was acting entitled, but I had spent almost a year of my life with an optimistic outlook towards my future built around this one thing. And now it was taken away. I tried to make the best of it. I wouldn't be far from home anymore, which meant I could keep my filmmaking connections close, so I finished writing the feature film I'd been working on and spent that entire summer shooting it. Getting a degree in entertainment and media studies would help me make video essays and better understand the industry in which I planned to work. I was gradually becoming excited about a future at UGA. Even still, FSU, or rather the alternate universe version of me who ended up going to FSU, became an ever-present ghost in my life. Even while I could see the upsides of going to UGA and I was becoming excited about college, I knew deep down that I didn't make the call myself, and that really bothered me. And it also really bothered me to think about the fact that my younger self would be disappointed to know that we didn't go to film school. In May, FSU threw me one last curveball. I was shocked. I remember just staring at the screen. I mean, I had finally done it. I told my friends, I told my girlfriend, I told my family. I did it. But then a second shock came in the form of my reaction. I wasn't even tempted to go. I finally had the choice. I wasn't committed to going to UGA. It wasn't that type of thing. Having both of the options in front of me, fully available, and having fully considered the benefits of both of them now, UGA finally seemed like the better choice. So I did what nobody, especially myself, would have expected me to do. I turned FSU down. Film school wasn't the answer. I still think about FSU sometimes. It remains a haunting presence in the back of my mind. Every single time I have a bad day, I wonder if maybe it would have been a better day in Tallahassee. But Tallahassee would have had its bad days too. If FSU hadn't waitlisted me the first time around, I would have just gone. I wouldn't have thought about the alternatives. So film school changed my perspective 3 times. When I first toured, I was finally optimistic about my future for the first time in probably a couple of years. When I was waitlisted, I was humbled and my assumptions about myself and my skill were challenged. And when I got in, I realized I didn't want what I thought I wanted. All 3 of these paradigm shifts were incredibly valuable to me, and while the process was painful at times, it ended up improving my mindset towards myself, my work, and my education. Many of the best filmmakers never went to film school, but many of them did. There really is no right or wrong when it comes to this stuff. Asking myself whether I'm in the right place assumes that there is a right and wrong. Film school isn't the answer for me, because there is no one answer. I can see how it would have benefited me to go, and I can see how I'm benefiting from not going right now, and I don't know which of those is better. All I know is that I'm here, and I'm happy.